folks, popping in again. If you know anything about working on GoldWings, then you know exactly what I'm doing. Yep, sinking the carbs. So of course this is my first time doing this, so I watched a couple videos, Herbie's Garage and Fix That Chid or something, and I'm sure the GoldWing docs guy has stuff, but theirs seems simple enough. And I'm gonna tell you what, that screw that's in there on the right side, way up in there to do the adjustment on, that's a booger to get to. You gotta kind of lay down on the ground and look up in there. And what I had to do was unscrew my I had to unscrew this vent right here off the corner right here. Take the screw off and get me a bungee cord and pull this thing back, hold it back, anchored it back so I could have a bigger space up in here. And then I could see in there to get to that screw. So watch those other videos on YouTube. One of them, a guy, he'll show you, he has a half of a carburetor in his hand, out in the open air in his hand, so he can actually show you by the spring where it is. So it's a little bit hard to find, but once you do lay on the ground and get some spacing between that fan and that duct, you'll be able to see that screw. And then once you put your eyes on it, it's like you think you can't see it or the frame's blocking it or something. So once you put your eyes on and see it, you'll know exactly where it is to get the screwdriver in there. Now I'll just say that my carbs weren't off too much. They were off a little bit, so I did do some adjusting. And so you need to watch the procedures on how to set your gauges up, because you need to start over here on the right side of the bike, and that's where that screw is, up there on the right side of the bike. But you need to start over here on the right side of the bike, put your little deal in there from your gauge set, and on this side you're going to want to calibrate your gauges. So you need to have the T-fittings with your two gauges that you're using going down in this, and get them perfectly balanced on this one side, so you know that both gauges are reading the same. And then you can take the T out for this side, hook the hose directly from there to one of your gauges, and then go on the other side and set your T-fitting up. Over on the other side, let me go on the left side of the bike. So got the other T-fitting going on here, but it's the hose here that it'll have the, let's see it on here. It'll have the number 6s on. The hose that I took off will have the right up here. That hose with the green thing on it will have number 6s on it, and you just pull that off the existing little vacuum nub right there, and then tee it in with your other hoses. Make your tee, and then the hose over to the second gauge. So I'm on the left side, and go tee it off, get it over to the second gauge, and then start doing your tuning on that screw, getting everything going. And it was a little bit of a doozy, but I got it. This is a 4-gauge set for 4 carburetors. Obviously I'm using the first gauge and the third gauge, and as you're turning the screw, you got to get in there and start turning the screw one way or the other and see what your gauges are doing to get them going. And then as you make adjustments, you need to give it gas, and then you need to adjust your idle. So I like my idle running right on that mark there, which I'm going to call that 800. So I think the idle is like 800 plus or minus 60 in the book, but I like my idle to sit right there. So as you start doing these adjustments, and after each time you move that screw, you gotta goose it, and then your idle might go up or whatever, so you got to bring your idle back down. Keep doing that, those same steps. Adjust the screw, give it gas, make sure your idle is still the same, and then finally you'll think like, oh, you're never going to get it together, and then finally it'll come together. So as you can see, they were a little bit off when I did a test on it. When I got it all hooked up, the carbs, both carbs were a little bit off, so I got them dialed in. So this is what it looks like when it's idling. But what I did too, when I was calibrating the gauges, and then now that I've got them all balanced, the needles are shaking and vibrating. So you gotta, you know, adjust these knobs and all that. You might have to adjust one knob more or whatever when you're calibrating to get them to read the same. So they're shaking back and forth. But what I was doing as I calibrated and as now I got it perfectly done is you want to give it a steady stream of gas, and I like to see both needles hit 50, and I'm holding the throttle. That's as damn near as close as I could get it right there. Look at that. I'm holding the throttle, and they're both on 50 at the same time. So that is perfectly done. Perfect. Let go. Boom. There they are. So like I say, mine were just 2 or 3 dashes off from each other. So it needed a little bit of adjustment. And hopefully I'll see a difference. I don't know if I will or not, but let's do it again. Here we go. Up to 50. There we are, right on 50. Both at the same time. Right around 50. There they are. Boom. So, anyway, got my carbs balanced, and that's about the last step I wanted to do before I start putting this bike together. So here I am, like I always say, rambling and babbling, or babbling and rambling, whichever way I say it. But it's another night here at the Honky Tonk Texas Garage, and I'm out, y'all. Later. Well, folks, here I am with another pop-in. Promised y'all when I got the bike together after my first round of maintenance and serviceable items that I slap it all back together, take it for a spin, and show you those the driving lights I got going on here. Change the corner lights to the driving lights, put those LED bulbs in them, and there they are right there. Probably showing up a little weird on the camera because I see lots of glare on my screen, but anyway, just thought I'd kind of do a walk around on the bike, show you all the lights. And there she is, got the ring of fire glowing right there, and looking good. So, and she's running good. Changed all the air filters, fuel filters, those elements, new shifter seal, put the shifter brace. Oh my god, the shifter brace makes a hell of a difference. Plus I flushed all the clutch fluid and rebuilt the clutch slave. What a difference with that shifter brace and fresh clutch fluid and all that. It shifts like a brand new bike. The shifter shaft is nice, solid, and stiff, solid. Is just shifting just like a brand new bike. It's unbelievable what the difference is. So if you don't have a shifter brace, you've been thinking about getting it, I suggest you do. But before you put it on, you better check your seal, because if you see any grime, oil, anything around that seal, since you're in there or doing that little project, you better change that seal out before you put that shifter brace on. That way you'll be set for years. But anyway, let's get back to the lights. Yeah, got all the lights. Of course, I didn't do these lights on the saddlebags and all that. That's how I bought it, on the saddlebag part there on the bottom. From what I understand, those are reflectors, so previous owner changed those out. So she's all lit up, running great, purring like a kitten. Got those carbs synchronized perfectly, as you saw in an earlier segment. She's purring. I got the idle at about 800, and I mean, she's running just so good since I've had her. It's unbelievable, and doing great, and looking good. So there she is. Just wanted to do a quick walk around with the lights, and of course I put the as I talked about on another video about the LED headlights I went with, and that was a totally another video. Talked about the LED headlight bulbs I went with, the position lights on the sides of the headlights, changed those with the bulbs I bought and I talked about. And then just the other night, I snipped that green wire on the bottom there. There are no more cornering lights. They are straight up driving lights and fog lights with LED bulbs in those. So just wanted to put a quick segment with that on there. And I mean, makes it hell of a lot different or better when you're driving now. I see those lights on the side, so the light kind of gives me a little more view to the left and the right. It's a wider view, and I think it gives it a nice stance at night. It gives it makes it look a bit more aggressive, and definitely makes me hell of a lot more visible. So, and that's what it's all about. Not just the looks. I mean, looks are great, but safety when we're on these bikes, on any kind of bike. So anyway, just wanted to show you all that. And the only thing that I'm dreading now is that was the first round of maintenance. Tomorrow I'll start my second round of maintenance. I'm going to take apart both the saddlebags, the Ring of Fire, that silver chrome round disc on there, the Ring of Fire. And tomorrow I'm going to be checking the brake pads and bleeding the brake systems front and back, doing the final drive oil, and then I'm going to leave it apart. So next week I'm going to leave it apart like that and zip tie all the electrical connectors and wiring, any wiring that needs to be up, because I'm going to drive it to the motorcycle shop without the bags or the Ring of Fire disc on there. And I drive it to the motorcycle shop like that next week, get a day that the owner will schedule me in so I can get there first thing in the morning, drive it all apart like that, and he can put new tires, new wheel bearings, and then I might have him, I'm going to do the final drive oil, but I'm going to have him do the greasing the splines in that drive system. So those are the three things I'm going to get done at the shop. And so I'm going to, like I said, drive it without the bags and stuff on there, so that way the tires front and back are just quickly accessible. Everything's accessible. They don't have to tear any plastic off. It's already off. And then I'll wait a couple hours for them at the shop, and when I'm done I can just drive it back to the house and put everything back together. And then this thing will be I'm going to do the fork oil too. I'm going to do the fork oil myself. And then after that, with fresh tires and all that stuff, this bike is going to be 100% gone through, and it'll be ready to ride, except for those important timing belts, which when I do the timing belts in a couple months, I'll be doing the coolant and the spark plugs. So yeah, 3 more things left, but I'm gonna wait just a little bit because I want to get a couple months in of riding this thing and enjoying it before I spend more time in the garage just working on this thing. I want to ride it instead of keep on working on it, but it's coming together, and it's been some cussing and some frustration along the way, but it's getting closer to this bike being 100% tip-top shape. So I'll continue on tomorrow when I got the bags off, looking at brakes and bleeding brakes. All right, folks, another pop in here. One of the last pop-in that's going to happen before I get my bike to the shop next week to have new tires and wheel bearings put on, and then she'll be ready to start riding, and everything will be good on it. Now, what I wanted to show you here is on the last service items I'm doing here. So I on the last video I did, I put the bike together, took it for a ride, and then I showed you all at night, and I showed you all the lights. So I did the cornering lights to the driving lights and changed those bulbs out to LEDs and all that. So now I'm back at the house, and now I've got the saddlebags off, and I've got the front discs off with my Ring of Fire off because of the maintenance items that I'm doing. So what I did tonight was I changed the final drive gear oil down here. So I think it was a 17 millimeter wrench for both the fill plug and the drain plug. I did that. I changed all of the brake fluid. The brake pads were all good. They had lots of meat left on all of the pads, all 3 calipers. And so don't forget on these bikes when you're doing the brake fluid that the back brake is a split system. It's not a link system, it's a split system. So when you hit the back brake lever with your foot, it does the back brake along with the left front caliper. So that's how that works. So it's got 2 lines coming off that back master cylinder on the back here, and it's got 2 lines down in there, one going to the back caliper and one going to the left front caliper. So you just suck your fluid out of there, put new fluid in, start pumping the brakes, and hitting the bleeder valves at the back and the front until you see fresh fluid coming out, no air bubbles and all of that. That's good. And then the front brake, of course, the front brake only does the right side front caliper. So drain that. And now what I'm working on is I'm draining the fork oil. So I drained this side of the right side. I'm over here on the left side. And I wanted to show y'all what's going on here. The oil, and this takes several minutes to drain actually. So you got to let it sit there and drain real good. Man, it's all nasty, dirty, gray stuff. And it's got a 10 millimeter bolt on each side right here that you take off. That's the drain bolt. And you let that drain on both sides. And then most GoldWings, or at least the 1500s, most of them should have, if not all, but I think most of them should have the Schrader valve underneath the plastic twist-off covers. Should have the Schrader air valves. And I saw a guy on video on YouTube that he did a video, and he actually took the Schrader tool and took the Schrader valve out when he should have left the Schrader valve in, and took the 10 millimeter nut out with the Schrader and had a bigger hole to fill back in. So he kind of made it harder on himself. But so as you see, I got both caps off. I've got the nut with the Schrader valve out. So there's the holes where I'll be filling them back in. And on my forks, I have progressive springs, so it really doesn't require any air in the forks. So before you take the nuts off, you need to push the Schrader valve in and release any of the air pressure that might be in there. I didn't have any because I got progressive springs and there wasn't any in there. It's not needed. But I wanted to show you what all that looked like and how I'm kind of doing that. So of course over here, my little bench, here's the plastic caps that screw on there. And then here's what I'm talking about with the Schrader. You got the Schrader valve there, and it's kind of dark here, but anyway, there's the Schrader valve in the center. But this is the whole, that one guy on YouTube took the actual Schrader out of this and left this whole nut thing in place. But anyway, this whole thing comes out as one unit, 10 millimeter bolt right there, and it just pulls right out, gives you a bigger hole, and that's where you'll refill it. If you look on GoldWing docs, he has a procedure there with a copper brake line tube and stuff like that. And you put in your fluid, your certain amounts of fluid depending on what springs you got, stock or progressive and all that. And then you'll need to take some measurements. So he uses that copper brake line tube thing that he sticks down in there for taking measurements and all that. But when I went to go get my fork oil I got a cycle gear store kind of somewhat close to me, so I went to go pick up my fork oil, and I found this syringe and stuff. Instead of going to an animal store and getting a syringe and buying a brake line on an auto parts store, they have this contraption already in a package. So it's got a syringe, it's got the tube, it's got the metal line right here that fits down in the hole where I took that Schrader, the whole nut assembly Schrader out. And then it has a stopper here that you can you lay up on your fork, and it has a set screw here that you set this metal line here, because you don't want this falling down inside your fork. So even though it's connected to this tube right here, hopefully that doesn't come loose, but if it did, I have it on my set screw here so it can't slide out. And so that's the little contraption that I got, and that works really good so far. I haven't filled them up yet, but what I did is when you're draining them, now like I said, it takes several minutes to drain them. You just sit and let it sit there and drain. It'll drain some, and then it'll drip, and it'll drain some more, and it'll drip. And when it's all said and done, then you want to suck up about 1 ounce of fluid, and push it through and let it clean out the rest of the dirty stuff. Let all that drain out several minutes. Do that to both sides with 1 ounce of fresh fluid to both sides. And then after you do that, you got it there, everything's drained. Then you put your nuts back in the drain holes there, and you're ready to refill them. to whatever specifications that it calls for your bike, depending on what springs you got and all that, and the forks. You'll have to look up all that information, and if you're stock or progressive or whatever. And yeah, so I'm just going to suck up my fork fluid in this syringe. It takes about 12 to 13 ounces, roughly somewhere in between there, and then I might have to suck out a little, but I'll measure that in a measuring cup here, and then suck it out and suck it up with this syringe and start filling her up. And so that'll be the last thing in the maintenance stuff going on. And then I'm leaving the bike. I already went to the shop and paid for my tires and the wheel bearings, paid for the parts and all that. And I told the owner of the shop there that because he really doesn't want to work on GoldWings anymore, like I said early in another segment, because of or another video actually I did, talking about why shops don't want to work on older bikes, whether it's Harley or Honda or whatever, but especially on the old GoldWings, because they don't want to deal with all this plastic. They don't know what shape it's in, what's cracked, what it's been through. It's old, it's brittle. So, you know, I told the guy, like, hey, you don't even have to worry about anybody. He said he would change my tires out. He didn't have a problem doing the tires, but I told him I'll make it easy on him. I'm leaving, since I'm doing all the maintenance and stuff. I've got this bike ready to go next week. So I'm leaving the bags off, I'm leaving the discs off and all that, and I'm riding it to the shop about 15 minutes from my house, just like this. So as you can see, is I got the trunk on there, which I'll still have lights and all that. But if you didn't have lights, you could just use hand signals. You don't need lights legally, hand signals. And so I've kind of taped up because I got this bottom piece on the trunk. Off the trunk here, I kind of taped up so these wires don't dangle. I've tie wrapped the cables that go to the saddlebags. I've tie wrapped them up there. I've tie wrapped all the wiring for the lights I've got on the bike on the side of the saddlebags. I put tape over the plugs so no dirt or water or something getting there. So everything's tie wrapped up, out of the way. I've got the air hose that was inside the saddlebag. I've got it tie wrapped off to the side there, and did the same thing with my on each side the ring of fire wires and connector. Tie wrapped them up there, and on both sides put tape on them, protect them, and tie wrapped them up there. So like I said, I'm riding this bike just the way it sits. Riding this bike to the shop, so when I get the shop, they open up at 9:30. And next week, Wednesday, I'm going to be at the shop with this bike ready to go. They just pull it in the shop, man, they can just immediately start working on that thing. They don't have to hassle with any plastic and saddlebags or nothing. And then when they do their work, get the tires on there and the wheel bearings and all that, then I can come back to the house and reassemble the saddlebags and all that, which isn't that hard. So that takes a load off them, and they don't have to worry about breaking anything, or I'm making it a lot easier on them. So they really appreciate this. The owners really appreciating this. So yeah, I'm just gonna go to the shop that morning, and got a Denny's next door, and I'm gonna eat breakfast and hang out for a couple hours, and they'll be working on my bike in a couple hours. It'll be ready for me to pick up, and I'll just ride it back to the house, put the stuff back on, and she'll be good to go for many miles to come. Except for in a few more months, I am going to do the last final 3 service things. The very important one, which is the timing belts, which I've got about 64,000 miles, but it's never been done. You should do them, I think, 100,000 miles or every 5 years, I believe. So this bike's going on nearly 27 years old, so it is definitely due for timing belts. But I'm going to take a couple months and enjoy the bike. I'm not going to ride it, you know, race around and all that, so I think the belts will hold up and shouldn't be any issue. But after riding it a couple months, enjoying it, and going on some out in the country trips and lunches, I'll be doing the timing belts, and at that time flushing the coolant and doing the spark plugs in a couple months. So after those 3 items, the bike will be 100% gone through, maintenance, service, tires, everything possible that I could do. This bike will be good to go for at least a couple years without having to do anything. All I have to do is change the oil. So anyway, I'm gonna continue on here, and it's late tonight, and I'm getting tired, and I'm rambling and babbling again. So anyway, just wanted to let y'all know what's going on, let y'all check it out, and if you got one of these and you're taking to a shop, you should do this too. Break down your bike like this, bring it in, have them do the tires and stuff. And also, the owner of the shop, I asked him, I said, hey, if I ever got in a bind, I know you don't want to work on these old GoldWings, but if I ever got in a bind and there was something wrong on my bike, or I couldn't fix it, or I screwed something up, I said, if I took all the plastics off the bike and put it on a trailer and brought it up to you, you'd work on it? He goes, oh yeah. He goes, if you take all the plastics off and bring it to me, I got no problem working on it. So that's good to know, that if I get in the middle of something that I can't fix or finish or whatever, I've got the option of just trailing it up there with all the plastics off so they can access the guts of the bike and work on it. But anyway, I'm out, and I'll do another segment next week of this video, total video, when I've got the new tires on it and everything's put back together, brand new tires, and I'll do one final walk around later. All right, folks, here we are. Got the final segment here of the video that I'm putting together. Got the bike back from the shop, everything put back together. And it's another beautiful day here in Spring, Texas this afternoon. It's in the low 70s. And all this past week, I've been riding the bike. It's been in the morning and at night. It's been in the high 30s. And so I've had to bust out the heavy leather jacket, the chaps and all that. Taking off in the morning or coming back at night, gets cold. Put on some good warm gloves and all that. But yeah, riding season here in Texas is upon us, and so I got the bike all ready to go because I'm not missing any of this from now up to right before summer. That's when I like to ride my bikes, because I don't like to sweat getting my bike out of the garage and all that stuff, and sweating like a pig when I'm going riding. I don't like any of that, so I don't ride too much in the hot summer months. So this is all my riding time right here for the next several months. But anyway, like I said, I got the bike back from the shop, got the new tires put on there. I went with the Dunlop Elite 4s. They're a good tire, a really good tire, long-lasting, high-mileage tire, motorcycle tire. I'm not doing any of the car tire stuff on this thing or on my motorcycles. I always go with motorcycle tires. So these pretty good, dang high mileage if you keep up with the air pressures and all that stuff. And so I had the new tires and new wheel bearings. And then when I took it to the shop that morning or that night before, I looked down here at the fork seals, and I kind of had rubbed my finger on it, and I had a light film of oil on my finger, and there was dirt on there, and I was like, I got a leak. And I kind of cleaned it up and looked on the outside of the brake calipers and on the rotors, and there was a little, dirty and stuff, so I cleaned it up. But when I got to the shop, I rode it to the shop that morning, and I was waiting on it, so I was a couple blocks down at the Denny's having breakfast. The shop called me and informed me, they wanted, the fork seals are bad, and they wanted to know if I wanted them to go ahead and rebuild the forks and put new seals in and all that. And at first I was like, I don't know, but then I went down there, and they showed me on the inside of the forks, which I didn't notice. It was really dirty. It was getting bad down on the inside of the calipers, and it was just going to get worse and worse and worse, and it was going to start getting on the brake pads and causing problems with braking. And these forks aren't something that I really want to mess with. I've done forks on a dirt bike one time. Kind of really didn't know what I was doing, but got it done, and I sure didn't want to do that job on this thing. So I was like, you know what, they've got the tires off, the wheels off, if they're ready to do it, I'll pay the $300-400 extra and go ahead and have them do it, and it'll be good to go. So I went ahead and had that done. Unfortunately, when they did that, I had already drained the fork oil, so that was kind of a waste of oil and time on my part, because they had to take the shocks apart, or the forks apart, and of course get the oil out of there and put new oil in. But everything is done on the bike. New tires, new wheel bearings, new fork seals, and she's ready for riding. I mean, I've been riding the heck out of this thing. But the one scary thing is when I had when I was doing the brake fluid, I knew the tires were old on this bike, and But I never looked at the date codes, and I looked at the date code on the front tire. It was from 2002, 21-year-old tire, and it had a hairline cracks around the edges and stuff. It was kind of dry rotting, and I think the back tire had a 06 date code on there. But you know, I kind of just drove the bike when I first got it around the neighborhood and stuff. But I did take it out on the freeway a couple times, and just thank God I didn't have a blowout. Thank God the rubber stuck to the pavement as I went around and leaned the bike on curves, because when you've got old tires, let me tell you, that rubber gets hard and it will have issues sticking to that concrete. So thank God that nothing happened to me. But that was crazy. I should have checked those date codes to begin with. But fresh rubber on her now. She's ready to go, and she's riding great. I mean, I've been riding in the country, just going everywhere with this bike all week in this beautiful weather. But I wanted to point out a couple of other things that I did to her when I got her put back together and had ordered. So one of the things I did, I had already had the phone mount, RAM phone mount that I talked about, and then I'd ordered the extra stand right here on the ball with that. And then so on the got me a drink holder. That is the Cruiser Caddy. I went with the Cruiser Caddy just because of the pricing on it. It was under $40, and you know, I saw some up for $70, $80, closer to $100 for certain ones. I was like, no, I'm not paying that much. I talked about, you know, keeping costs down on this bike or whatever, and you know, this thing works great. You know, I like to we carry our drinks, whatever we drink, in plastic bottles with lids. We don't have cups with sippy cups, or those kind of cups, or with the sippy lids, or coffee cups and stuff. We could have bottle drinks where there's water, Cokes, Gatorades, whatever, and this thing works great because it comes with two foam inserts depending on the sizes of the drinks you have. So I like to get the Walmart bottled water because they're 20-ounce bottled water. They're not that 16.9 BS where the bottle is real skinny and then it flops around in your car and doesn't fit in regular koozies and stuff good, because they're not 20 ounce in the design. So this thing fits good. It doesn't, you know, wobble or tip over, and I've got it in a stationary position instead of being able to swivel back and forth. I just found that I wanted it to sit still and nothing's going to spill out of this. I've had the thing leaned over, and you know, it holds even though on the I like to drink, you know, Cokes and Dr. Peppers and stuff, Mountain Dews, and I get the 6-packs of the bottles. So when you buy them, those are 16.9 ounce, because they don't sell them as 20 ounce, so you can't resell them, or people that have stores or whatever can't buy those and then resell them, so they make them a 16.9. But when they do that, unlike the 16.9 water bottles, they make the curves and all that where they fit in a koozie or a drink holder, but better because of the way the bottle is shaped and curved on the 16.9 versus a 16.9 water bottle where it's just straight and skinny, and then and then just the sizing makes it flop around and all that. So that's the Cruiser Caddy drink holder. I like that. I got June this drink holder here. It fits under the, I had two storage bags, one on each side, two of these storage bags. So I took the one off of this side and kept that one on there, and got her this one that connected under the armrest here with the screw, and that fits in there. And you know, it does wobble around a little bit, but I mean, we're flying down the highway in the country on the freeways and 80 miles an hour or whatever, and it bounced around a little bit, but like I say, nothing's coming out because we use bottles with caps, and it ain't coming loose. That thing's secure in there. So I went with that just because it, you know, flips out of the way and it's nothing sticking out that's too obtrusive. So I did that. Another thing I did was got some carpet liners and in the saddlebags in the trunk. Now I didn't go with the nice carpets that have GoldWing embroidered on it and embroidered on them, or the real plush carpets. These are the more, they're real thin, and I think they were like $30 to $40. But I wasn't aware that when you get these things, you know, they're all pre-cut to fit the bags in the trunk, but I wasn't aware that they had a sticky, the whole back of them has a big sticky thing on the back, well, where you peel it off and stick it down. Well, I didn't want to do any of that because I didn't want to have to cut slits and all the bolts heads if you want to get in there or whatever, and once you have it stuck down. And then plus on the trunk, you've got the rubber grommets under here if your saddlebags don't open, that you can poke down in there and push them open. So if you have it sticky down, that's all that stuff's blocking. So I thought, well, I'm gonna put them down on some cardboard or whatever, and just throw them in there. And maybe if I have to put pieces of double-sided Velcro or whatever in the corners on each corner there, keep them in place, I'll do that. But then I remembered I don't have a yoga mat that I haven't really used or don't use, so I stuck one each to the yoga mat here and stuck the adhesive on the side that was more slick and had a more surface area versus the bottom that it's kind of like a honeycomb or a waffle cone print or whatever. And it worked out great because, as you can see, this bottom adhesive, it's really flexible. It's really flexible, so it sits down in there good. I don't have to put any kind of Velcro to make it stick in place or whatever. It's that yoga mat stuff, so it doesn't slide around. Of course, it's not going to slide around too much because it's custom cut in there, but the shape of this, but it just makes it easy to get it in and out. Just pull this thing in and out. Look at there. Just boom, can access anything. I can take them in and out, whatever. So that was, I thought that was a good idea to use that yoga mat, since I never use it for what it's intended for. But and the reason why I wanted these liners is because, and not that it's going to happen on this Honda plastic, but I know on my Harley bags, when I first got my Harley and I was carrying stuff in there, I got the stuff slid around, and I got that black graphite stuff on items that were in there sliding around, almost like if you ever had a diamond plate toolbox on your trucks and you didn't have it lined, stuff would slide around and just have gray graphite stuff all over everything. So on my Harley, I put everything in Walmart bags and then lay the stuff down in the saddlebags so that it can't slide around and stuff doesn't get all over the items. Now, if anything, it'll get stuff on the Walmart bags, but I'm not sure if the Honda plastic would do that stuff. But I just wanted to get these mats, make it nicer, make it cleaner, and it worked out good. I'll show you the saddlebag part here. Let me find the latch here. There's the saddlebag one. Got her in there, and they sit, like I say, they put them on the yoga mat thing and cut it and all that, and it lays completely flat. It's real flexible, so I'm glad I didn't use cardboard, because cardboard wouldn't have been as flexible as this yoga mat. But it sits in there really nice, and I still put all my stuff, all my tools or extra parts and items, or my service manual and all that, I still put that in Walmart bags and everything in Walmart bags and put them in here. I just took them out for this video, but that way everything stays together in Walmart bags and doesn't get dirty, and just keeps things separated and not just loose around the thing. But I also have the GoldWing bags that came with the bike, but those are like travel bags, like putting clothes in and all that. I don't use that stuff unless I'm going on a big trip, so I never carry those liner bags, the official liner travel bags in here, because those are more for like big trips if you're packing clothes and stuff like that. So I don't want those things in here. So that's the carpet liners. Let's see what else I did here, if I can remember. New tire, wheel bearing. Oh yeah, they get. I made sure they greased the splines on that. That's another big thing that people might overlook if they do their own maintenance on there, is greasing that splines on the rear end there. And the owner said, oh yeah, when we put new tires on these things, that's an automatic thing we do. So they got the splines greased, and everything was good on the drive stuff. Of course, I did the final drive oil myself, so all that was good. And then I guess the final thing I did is I had these stickers made online and sent to me, and the bike has a purple and purple, pinkish, and a blue type pinstripe all on the bike and on the sides and stuff like that, as you can see here. So I had some stickers made to kind of match, and named my bike and put Donnie and June on there, me and my girlfriend. And but I call her Betrayal, And that's a twofold on that name, Betrayal, in the sense that, you know, I got my Harley and I love my Harley and I do love Harleys, but I've always wanted these GoldWings, so it's like a little joke. I'm portraying my Harley when I'm riding this thing, a GoldWing. And then it's kind of a double meaning, because the other thing is, when I was kind of looking for these bikes, I told June I wasn't in a hurry to buy one, but when I found this, I just had to get this one. So I kind of told her a little lie and told her me and my son, I had to go help my son. We were going to Austin and had to go help him get his some stuff when he lives with some roommates. But actually we went up to Crescent, Texas by Dallas, and picked the bike up. So I told her a little lie because I wanted to surprise her. And then when I got the bike back that next week, and I showed her and lifted up the garage and had the bike, and she and she goes, well, you lied to me. You kind of betrayed me. And I was like, oh, it's funny you say that, because I was already thinking that about betraying my Harley, and then now you said that. So I said, that's what I'm going to call her, Betrayal. So it's kind of a double meaning and kind of a joke. And so I had the colors of the stickers match the pinstripe best that I could get it. So it came out really good. And so that's about all I'm going to do for right now. And now, I've gone through most every item that you can do on this thing for service and maintenance, except for one of the major things, and that is the doing the what do you call it, the timing belts. The timing belts need to be done on this bike. Now, it has about 64,000 miles, and Honda says you need to do this about every 100,000 miles, or I think 5 years. So obviously I don't have the mileage, but she's what, 26 going on 27 years old. So I'm taking a little bit of a chance that these belts could break. I don't think they will. So I'm going to wait till early next year, 2024, you know, February, March, and I'm going to do the timing belts. And then at that time, when you do the timing belts, you have to drain the coolant and then pull the spark plug. So when I do that, I'll do the timing belts, put fresh coolant and new spark plugs. Those will be the 3 final things. So early next year, when I get that done, this bike will be 100% gone through maintenance and service wise that can be done on this thing, and she'll be perfect. But you know, so in the other segments, I showed you everything that I kind of did and the parts and where things were, and like, you know, and showed you the condition of some of the things that I took off and replaced. But so everything's good on this bike. She's riding good, she's running good, carbs are good because I did the synchronization, and then you know, just the best that she can run. And I mean, I could tell a difference, especially that shifter I mentioned before, the shifter brace and all that stuff shifts like a brand new bike. But and I'm looking forward to riding this thing, and on many trips. I've already been out in the country by myself a couple times this week, and just went for 3-4 hour drives and all over, and man, she's just a pleasure to ride, and I've been having a great time on her. So anyway, that's gonna wrap up this segment, and gonna wrap up this video that I'm gonna put together. And so, but I just wanted to point out, wanted to say that, you know, I said this before in another video, that my channel these aren't how-to videos. So there's other videos and other forums, other websites with pictures and stuff, GoldWing Docs, Herbie's Garage, these types of things, Fix That Shit or whatever, that show you step by step how to do stuff. So that wasn't what this video was about that I'm stringing together. I just wanted to show you and tell you and showcase the bike and show you and tell you what I was going to do, and then when I got the parts off, what they look like, the old ones, and then kind of some tips and tricks that I came across, and I want to mention those to people. So that was the basis of my video. Just another video on the Generation 4 GoldWing for people to watch if they're interested, check things out. And so the bike is ready, and tomorrow we are going. Tomorrow's Saturday, which the Lone Star Rally here in Galveston, Texas, has kicked off. It's Friday today. It kicked off yesterday. It's Thursday through Sunday. So June and I are pulling out tomorrow morning about 7 in the morning on the GoldWing. and we're going to head down to the Lone Star Rally and check that whole thing out, have a nice cruise on the bike there and back, and see what we can get into down at the rally and buy a few things, check out a few things. But I've ridden my Harley down there. I haven't been down there in a few years, but I've ridden my Harley down there before. And then one year I didn't even ride my bike because, I'm not staying down there and I'm on my bike. If I don't have a place to stay down there and I'm on my bike, I'm not going to be drinking and partying and then climb on my bike at midnight or 1 in the morning and drive back to Houston an hour and a half after drinking and all that stuff, and then all the other crazy people out there. No, I wasn't going to do that, so I just drove a car down there one year so I could party and drink and didn't have to worry about climbing on a bike. But I'm going to be down there with June, and I ain't going to be drinking and partying too much. We're going to just be having a nice time and then getting back on the bike before the sun goes down and head back. But that's what we're looking forward to doing this weekend, and taking her down to the Lone Star Rally. My first time on a GoldWing down there, and I'll tell you what, even though I love Harleys and I got a Road King, I'm gonna have an Ultra Classic too one day. The Ultra Classic is same as this GoldWing. It's got the trunk and all that, and the stereo and all that stuff, and full front fairing and all that. One day I'm gonna have one of those bikes, but I always wanted one of these GoldWings. And the reason why I kind of hurry up and got it is because I was wanting a bigger tour bike like this, but I didn't want to spend the money at the moment, $10,000, $12,000, $15,000 to get a nice used Ultra Classic. So I always wanted one of these GoldWings, and I was like, you know what, under $5,000 I can get one of these bikes. So I kind of hunted for about 6 months and saw what was out there and jumped on this one. And I got her for, I think, $4,500, and of course I had to put new tires and do some maintenance items on her. But so it was relatively cheap to get a touring bike right now. And like I said, I always wanted these GoldWings, so why not do it? It's cheap, they're available. But the thing is, when you start, people are watching a lot of YouTube videos on these bikes, and a lot of the people that were selling them, they've been going quick. So there's a market out there for these bikes, for these older Generation 4 GoldWings. People want these things because it's the biggest physical GoldWing ever made from the physical size of the thing, and it's been said that this is the best one of all the generations that Honda ever made, which I tend to agree. Now, it is carbureted. That's the only thing that could be different. They didn't do the EFI, electronic fuel injection, until the next generation in 2001. But hell, I can deal with the carbs. I already messed with the carbs. I did the I sync the carbs up, so they're all good. But that's the only thing that could be better. But that's just what we're talking about when we're talking about older bikes. It's got carbs on it, which is no big deal. But yeah, so I had to get it $4,500 to have a big cruiser, and the GoldWing I always wanted to get it right now. And then maybe in a couple years I'll get some money together when I'm not buying other things or doing other things, and I'll spend that $15,000 on a used Harley Ultra Classic. Because I don't, I've been riding bikes, since I was a kid, dirt bikes and all that, but sport bikes in the 90s, and I've never in my life, never, dirt bikes, whatever bike, I've never bought a brand new bike. One, because I'm just a cheapskate, but two is, I'm going to let somebody else eat that cost up front, because you're going to buy the bike and then you're going to spend all kinds of money putting all the extra stuff on it. So when I buy my bikes, I take my time, I see what's out there, I figure out what bike I want, and then I see what's out there, what the prices are, what people are putting on them, what they have on them, and then I find those ones that somebody bought it brand new, they put all the stuff on it, they barely rode it, and now they want to sell it. And then that's when I jump on and buy it, and I pay cash for them. I don't have no payments, because I'm not buying new bikes and making payments on stuff like that. Just ain't happening. So I always buy used, always. I've never had a brand new bike, ever. So, and it's worked out for me. I've found some good bikes, just taking my time, make sure that, I didn't buy something and then a week later go, oh man, I should have waited, because I could have got this one. But when you take your time and you wait and you look, and then you'll come across, when you find that one, you'll know. So anyway, like I said, I'm rambling and babbling again. That's what I'm good at. But she's done for now till next year when I get those last 3 service items. She's done for now. I'm going to enjoy her for the next few months, and I'll show her to you one more time. There she is, Betrayal, and she's a good one. And we're going to look forward to getting her down to the Lone Star Rally in Galveston tomorrow and have a good time on that. So I know this ended up being a long video because I had like 14 segments or so to put together, I think, when it's all said and done, and it turned into a long video. But I hope it was entertaining, informative. I hope you liked watching it, just to see these old bikes. And you know, when I do the timing belts and all that, I will definitely be making a video of that, and maybe video of any trips or something like that I do. But until then, thanks for watching, and y'all ride safe out there.